Chapter 1. Nighttime. In a deserted alley, a girl is pinned against the wall. The main rapist says that screaming women turn him on. At the same time, he claims that he is quite a good person. It's just that the girl's father owed him a certain amount of money and ran away. A man tears clothes on the fair sex. The girl can't believe her eyes. She's panicking about what's happening. The rapist assures the girl that her screams will not help. People passing by the entrance to this dark alley are afraid to enter it. The man asks not to resist. Otherwise, he will have to use violence. At this point, a couple passes near this place. The girl offers to call the police, but the guy refuses this idea, arguing that the bandits will take revenge on them after this. They run away from the aisle, believing that someone will definitely help the girl. The couple only confirms the bandits' words. The man already wants to start an intimate relationship, because his companions are also hungry to hell. The bandit leader's name is Agency. One of his younger brothers calls out to him. A guy in a shirt and tie approaches the two bald thugs. He has unkempt black hair on his head and round glasses. The guy is wearing a shirt and trousers, and on his feet he has sneakers. He breathes into big men's navels. One of them notes that the boy did not choose the best place for walking. He hints that he should leave, otherwise he may be accidentally injured. Before the big guy can finish the sentence, the boy breaks his neck with a kick and then drives him into the wall with a blow to the stomach. Agency and his second brother pay attention to the boy, but the second big man does not have time to do anything. The hero in the jump prescribes him from the knee to the jaw, knocking out several teeth. The big guy falls to the sidewalk and doesn't get up again. The leader of the bandits at this time runs away, pulling on his pants. He shouts at the guy that he's already dead, because he doesn't know who he's messing with. The girl comes to her senses. He thanks the guy for saving him, but he just ignores her, heading after the bandit with a maniacal smile on his face. Agency is amazed at what is happening. He never imagined that there would be a day when he would have to run away from a high school student. The man hears movement behind him. He looks back at the noise and sees a guy chasing him. The bandit doesn't understand what this lunatic needs from him. He thought that the schoolboy decided to save the girl. The guy catches up with him. The bandit leader shouts to open the door. His subordinate does this. The guy doesn't understand what's going on. Agency yells at him to call all the people right now. The high school student stops at the entrance to the room. Inside, a mob of bandits is waiting for him, each armed with a knife or a steel pipe. The guy takes off his glasses, preparing to give a serious fight. A bunch of bastards are getting ready to kill the kid, and he just thinks it's all very exciting. A high school student runs into the room. The leader of the bandits is already happy that everything is over with the boy. He asks his men to bring it to him, but he can't see what's going on in the next room because of the door. A powerful blow knocks the door off its hinges. The bandit is amazed at what he saw. All his subordinates are lying on the floor without signs of life, and the schoolboy goes to him. There's blood all over his shirt, and there are cuts on his trousers. As the guy slowly approaches Agency, the latter tries to understand what drives the madman. A high school student puts his foot on a small table, pointing to shoe marks, stating that the bandit stepped on his foot. The student rises on one leg, bringing the other to strike. The bandit tries to stop him, noticing that the footprint from the shoe belongs to the guy himself, but this does not stop the hero. The guy admits that his whole life has changed in 1 year. Chapter 2. Now they decide to tell us the backstory of the main character. Why did he go so far? What motivates him? Let's go back in time. Exactly 1 year ago, events take place at the school. A guy and a girl are sitting on a bench. They're reading the paper. A representative of the fair sex notices that the government wants to stop bullying in schools. Large companies supported this idea, so they are organizing a joint project, which is the greatest mixed martial arts tournament among teenagers. The guy also shares his thoughts on this issue. In his opinion, a high prize pool of 500,000 won can cause the opposite effect, because it looks more like a reward than a stop. The guy's name is Gang Hanyul. The girl has a different opinion. She understands that fighters are only allowed to fight in this tournament. It also assumes that this tournament will bring together all the criminals of the country. The hero cares about something else. He is amazed at the amount of money allocated for this tournament. Even a small region like Dong was allocated 10 million won. The guy doesn't understand why Hyang Sung Corporation would spend so much money. Then a girl's fist sweeps past the guy's face. A representative of the fair sex declares that she would try her luck in this tournament if girls were allowed to enter it. The girl's name is Seon. The hero admits that he understands the feelings of the interlocutor, but he hints that she should show her femininity instead of cruelty. My friend's words hurt saying a lot. She raises her fist to hit the guy, but the chatter from the side distracts her friends. A crowd of schoolchildren gathered in a circle. The girl notices that the male part of this tournament is not at all interesting. The guy doesn't understand what's going on. The friend is surprised by this behavior of the hero. She reminds him to install KAKAONALK to keep up with the latest news. Sang notices that the hero must have at least caught a glimpse of the big news. Gang Hanyul doesn't know what the girl is talking about. Sang decides to tell his friend the latest news. It turns out that a new girl was transferred to the hero's school. This is a girl who has an elvish beauty. Her name is Haru Lee. Her friend is once again amazed that Gang Hanyul hasn't heard of her. A huge number of guys tried to please her, but none of them managed to start dating with her. She rejected them all. Haru Lee has a very rough and straightforward personality. Even when she met the bandits, she wasn't the least bit afraid, but only demanded that they get away from her. Sang notices that the new girl isn't afraid of anything at all. In this respect, the two girls are similar. Sang notices that his friend is blushing with embarrassment. The girl begins to make fun of him because she is sure that for a girl like Haru Lee, they are just a background and nothing more. Then the girl hears the sound of footsteps from the side. Sang gets distracted from her monologue. Her eyes widen as a new girl approaches her friends. The hero is very nervous, starting to carry various nonsense. He's so embarrassed that he can't even say a word properly. Haru Lee holds out her hand to him, causing a bit of confusion in the boy. The girl admits that she thought that Gang Hanyul had entered this school. She asks me to take care of her. The two friends' eyes widen again, but the guy still shakes the beauty's hand. It was from this moment that the main character's life ceased to be ordinary. Someone is watching the scene from the side. The hero admits that it was after this event that his whole life turned into a real hell. The lunch break arrives, and Gang Hanyul goes to the cafeteria. He's just starting to eat when a guy approaches him. His name is T-Shik. He asks the hero for a favor. Usually, the student carried food for the children who could not get it themselves. Right now, he has a broken leg, so he can't do it. Gang Hanyul also admits that he recently entered school and has not yet memorized all the names of his acquaintances. Hearing that the hero knows absolutely nothing about him, the guy is happy. This arouses Gang Hanyul's suspicions, but T-Shik hands him a piece of paper with the address. He asks to take food to the guys, assuring them that it's just for one time. The hero reads the address and doubts whether it is worth taking on such a job. Then the interlocutor hangs up his nose, starting to put pressure on Pity. Gang Hanyul agrees to help. The guy thanks him for that. The hero leaves, and T-Shik's face immediately changes. It looks like he was forced to do it. Gang Hanyul runs out of the store with a bag of food. His girlfriend sees it. She is surprised that the guy is going somewhere in such a hurry. She asks him, and the hero doesn't stop, just throws over his shoulder that he decided to help T-Shik. He has to deliver food for his friends because they are hungry. The girl with shock in her eyes looks after the fleeing guy, but does not stop him. Gang Hanyul comes to the address indicated on the piece of paper. He is amazed that T-Shik goes so far every day. He thinks the guy is kind. The hero enters the room and kindly tries to find out where D-Chun is. This is a classroom where all the desks are occupied by school children. Hearing the name D-Chun, everyone present is startled. The hero is already beginning to doubt that he got into the right office, but the voice behind him persuades him. A huge, beefy, 2-meter-tall guy stands up behind the guy. Gang Hanyul turns around, starting to sweat. Chapter 3. The hero is a transferred student. He didn't know much about his new surroundings. Besides, he didn't use social media and instant messengers, so he didn't know who Das-Chun was. He also didn't know that T-Shik was his errand boy. Gang Hanyul sat on the green grass with his knees pressed to his chest. He was lost in his own thoughts, so he didn't notice Sang sitting next to him. The girl sees that her friend is very sad. She assumes that something has happened. The friend sincerely wants to help a guy. She's even willing to stand up for him if someone bothers him. Gang Hanyul just need to say the name of the person, but the hero tries to push the girl away from him. He asks her not to worry about him. Sang reminds the guy that in the past, he has helped her out of difficult life situations without any question. She doesn't understand why her friend wants her to just leave him. Gang Hanyul doesn't understand what the girl is talking about. He believes that nothing of the sort happened. Then Sang decides to remind him of one of the cases. To begin with, she directly asks if the hero remembers what happened in the second year of school on the Han River. The guy answers in the negative, so the girlfriend rushes to refresh his memory. It turns out that then the girl fell into the river, and the guy jumped after her and tried to save her. Sang asks the other person if they know how difficult it is to pull out a person who can't swim at all. The girl admits that then she wanted to commit suicide, but in the end the hero jumped after her, forcing her to save herself. Gang Hanyul becomes interested in the reason why her friend wanted to commit suicide. The girl had a very difficult childhood. Her father was a drunk, so he constantly beat her and her mother. Sang endured it, but something out of the ordinary happened that day, which completely turned the girl's world upside down. The friend does not dare to tell the truth until the very end. She admits that she endured all this because of her mother. When the girl pulled the hero out of the water then, he said that she should no longer climb into the water in these places, because it is very disgusting there. That made her laugh. Because of such a ridiculous situation involving Gang Haniel, Sang wanted to live again. Plus, her friend had hated guys before, but after that day, she felt like she could trust them a little more. The girl wonders why the hero decided to save her, even if he can't swim. In fact, Gang Haniel risked his life for his girlfriend. The guy doesn't know how to answer this question correctly. Apparently, he really didn't do it consciously, relying more on instinct. Sang decides to tease her friend, believing that he has fallen in love with her, but the hero denies all this. Events are returned to the Di-chun class. The hero stands in front of a crowd of high school students, led by a big man. He already understands that he is in a very difficult position. He apologizes for buying a different bread. After all, he wasn't in the dining room he'd entered. Di-chun claims that the guy didn't do anything wrong. He thinks that T-shik didn't explain everything well to the hero. T-shik starts sweating in fear, backing away. He says he'll fix it. Thug wants to set an example, so he doesn't intend to let go of Gang Haniel just like that, even though it's not his fault. The leader assigns this job to T-shik. The latter is in a state of shock, so the big guy threatens to make him an errand boy again. Threats have an impact on the boy, and he breaks away from the place to the hero. The crowd laughs as T-shik beats up Gang Haniel. They even want to take a video of it, but someone stops at the entrance to the classroom. Di-chun notices this. The bully asks the subordinate to ease up on his onslaught, because Haru Lee decided to admire everything. Chapter 4. Previously, the hero thought that people commit suicide simply because of the inability to bear this life any longer. But now he understands that this is not the real reason at all. People decide to commit suicide when they simply have no other choice. When all the options for your path have sunk into oblivion, you begin to look for a path that you no longer have to go. At least that's how Gang Haniel feels when he falls into Di-chun's clutches. He gives the guy a dirty job that no one else should know about. The penalties for disclosing information will be very severe. The bastard threatens to take care of the hero's young sister. Di-chun wants to play with a guy forever. The bandit declares that he will make him have fun wherever he is. Gang Haniel climbs to the roof of a tall building and approaches the cliff. There are no people on the street. It's already dark, and the hero himself doesn't know what to do. It seems to him that he is in a desperate situation. He's about to take a step forward when a hand falls on his shoulder. Gang Haniel falls to his knees in fear. He doesn't see the person who bothered him. He immediately begins to ask for forgiveness, assuring that he will definitely return the money. The hero is very scared because he immediately covers his face, preparing for another beating. However, the person who stopped him is not the bandits, but Sam. The girl doesn't understand what happened, and the guy just asks that his girlfriend not worry about him. She doesn't understand when her loved one has become like this. There is no judgment or hatred in her gaze. Rather, she sympathizes with the guy and feels sorry for him. The hero admits that he is a coward. He asks the girl to leave him alone. The guy is trying his best to break the connection with his girlfriend. He pretends that he thinks the girl is faking it all the time. He demands that she not follow him, otherwise he will kill her. Sang doesn't believe these words. She doesn't believe that she could call such a person a friend. The girl wants Gang Hanielu to die quickly and calls him a coward. The next day, the hero eats in class. Classmates do not approach him, keeping a decent distance. They whisper to each other. The guy exhales, about to start eating, but a huge big man from the gang approaches him from behind. It gives a powerful slap on the back of Gang Haniel's head, causing him to hit his face on his food tray. The big guy explains his actions by saying that he saw a fly on the guy's head. Gang Haniel says that everything is fine. Then the big guy repeats the process. After that, Di-chun enters the class, who is happy about how friends take care of each other. Then he notices something strange. The gang leader decides to support the bullying of the main character. He claims to see a fly. The bandit raises his hand, intending to give a powerful slap on the back of the hero's head. Gang Haniel covers his head in horror, realizing that now it's going to hurt a lot. But the big guy's hand never reaches the guy. Seong intercepts her. The girl stands up for her friend even after their quarrel. She says that the big guys can only mock the weak. The leader of the bastards ignores her words. His free hand tries to get under the girl's clothes, but the latter manages to break the distance. She is shocked by this behavior of a schoolboy. Di-chun just grins in her face, asking her why she left. The girl decides to express her opinion. She claims that she thinks all of this bastard's friends are a bunch of weaklings who tickle their ego. The girl threatens that if Di-chun and his friends don't leave Gang Haniel alone, she will report everything to the police. The big guy who started bullying the hero calls the schoolgirl psychotic, and then literally calls her to make a call to the police. He is about to kill the girl for Norma, but Boss Voice stops him. Di-chun demands that the subordinate stop, because this should not happen between friends. This surprises his colleague. The big man looks at the chief with incomprehension. Di-chun explains that class is over. The bandits leave the classroom, leaving the hero alone with his girlfriend. When the big guys leave the classroom, the boss explains that he is very hungry. To satisfy his hunger, he needs something more exciting. Chapter 5. Gang Haniol goes home with Seon. The guy goes in front, and the girl trudges after him. The hero asks to be left alone. He tries his best to push his girlfriend away from him, but Seong begins to explain his position in life. The girl finally gathers her thoughts to tell the truth about herself. She believes that she has to worry about the guy, because the day when he saved her from the river was the day when the girl's father began to molest her. His friend's words make him freeze in place, and Seongi herself continues to speak. Gang Haniol was a complete stranger to me. Her, who started taking care of her. It was because of this that the girl had the strength to live on. A friend admits that the hero has become a substitute father for her. This helped her communicate more freely with others. The girl declares that she will not leave the guy, even if he believes that it is not her business. Seongi encourages the hero to rely on her. Then and only then will they be able to put an end to this bullying. Gang Haniol doesn't know what to do. He finally decides to open up to his girlfriend. He honestly talks about the fact that bandits threaten his younger sister, so the guy does nothing. He believes that if nothing is done, then everything will be fine. He's willing to put up with this bullying for the sake of others, thinking that Di-chun's gang won't hurt anyone. The hero turns around, but the girl is no longer there. He doesn't understand where she disappeared to, but a very terrible assumption appears in his head. The gang of Di-chun drags the girl to one of the abandoned buildings. Seongi tries to resist. She waves her hands away and calls for help. Di-chun pushes the girl onto the asphalt, then bends over her. The bastard is going to take revenge on the girl for her cheeky behavior, so he asks his guys to hold her hands and feet. Seongi struggles, shouting that she no longer considers the bandits around her as people. The leader of the gang notices that the victim is yelling too loudly. This may attract too much attention, so he orders a free subordinate to take off his socks. The big guy fulfills the request of the leader. Di-chun also notes that his colleagues' feet stink very strongly. The leader of the gang of rapists claims that if the girl just shut up and moaned, everything would be easier. After that, he shoves her handyman's crumpled sock into her mouth. Seongi gets hysterical. She's already on edge. Tears are streaming from her eyes, and her eyes are filled with horror. The louts are already getting ready to start their dirty business when the hero intervenes. He bursts into the crowd, brandishing a wooden stick. The reality is very harsh. Gang Haniol does not hit anyone with his baton, but one of the bandits hits him on the back in response. The guy falls to the ground. A gag comes out of the girl's mouth. Her friend's name comes out of her mouth. The hero tries to clear his throat. Di-chun is surprised by the boy's actions. For him, what he has just done is amazing. Gang Haniol asks not to do this to his girlfriend. He is literally begging, because he has met all their demands and endured all their antics. The main bastard also says that this is a stupid question, because he now wants to eat, so why should he refuse to eat? The hero does not understand what the bandit is talking about, but he continues his attempts to stop everything that is happening with words. Di-chun is angry that Seongi spat the sock out of her mouth. The bastard is going to shove him back under the hero's desperate screams. The other big man sits on Gang Haniol's back, then plugs him with the other sock. The leader of the gang also orders to hold the guy tightly so that he does not miss a single scene. After that, he runs his hands under the girl's skirt. Di-chun takes off the girl's underwear, then gets down to business. The hero sees everything that happens from the outside. Seongi looks at him with tears in her eyes and a dirty sock in her mouth. Her gaze is becoming more and more glassy with every passing moment. This becomes the starting point for the hero. His shirt is bursting at the seams, shattering into pieces. Chapter 6. There are several reasons why a person may be bullied. These include the following things: a lack of social skills, a different appearance, or a different life situation. People in society are unequal. There are people who have everything, others have nothing, but there will always be a group between them that is bullied by others. As for the hero's situation, he admits to being an idiot. Gang Haniol wants to be strong, but he doesn't have the opportunity. He doesn't even know what it means to fight, so the hero has only one idea. It was rather ridiculous. Gang Haniol tried to enroll in some gym or section in order to learn the skills of fighting, but he was not accepted anywhere because the students did not want to be in the same hall with someone like him. The hero felt as if he had turned into an insect. He despaired, believing that he was not capable of anything. Passing by a dark alley in the evening, he hears sounds from it. The hero sees how two criminals knocked out an old man. One of them searches the pockets of an elderly man, intending to take everything of value from him. The old man is clutching his wallet tightly. Watching this picture, the guy realizes that he wants to kill all these bandits. He picks up a rock, then takes off in their direction. The hero is about to hit one of them on the head with a run, but stumbles on a rock under his feet, which makes him fall absurdly on the asphalt. The bastards realize what the schoolboy was going to do. One of them raises his leg to strike, and Gang Haniol covers his head with his hands, preparing to beat him. Mentally, he despairs, knowing there's nothing he can do. However, the situation changes when another person appears in the alley. She sends the first bandit into the wall with a roundhouse kick. The second one pounces on the girl with a bottle, but the girl at the last moment deflects the opponent's blow with her hand, after which she prescribes it in the larynx with an open palm. Then she intercepts the bastard, throwing it over herself. This person turns out to be Haru Lee. Having dealt with 2 criminals, the girl approaches a drunk man on the asphalt, whom they tried to rob. It turns out that this man is her uncle. The girl throws her relative's arm over her shoulder, starting to move towards the exit of the alley. Gang Haniel is impressed by Haru Lee's skills. He tries to reach out to her, but she communicates with her uncle. The girl notices that her relative has become heavier. This may cause her to no longer be able to keep an eye on him. The hero, not having received any answer from the savior, despairs and falls silent. He lowers his head, knowing that a girl shouldn't care about someone like him. At the same time, Haru Lee turns to the guy. She's surprised that he's just standing there, even though he was originally going to help. Chapter 7. The sun is sinking below the horizon. The evening is about to turn into nighttime. The hero drags Uncle Haru Lee on his shoulder while the girl herself walks in front. The guy looks ahead, mentally noting that he has a lot of questions, but now is not the best time to ask them. The girl seems to be reading his mind. She understands the guy's surprise, because he doesn't quite understand how a fragile and weak girl was able to defeat 2 bandits. Haru Lee explains that the reason for her victory is Gang Haniel. This makes the hero very confused, because he does not quite catch the meaning of these words. Representative of the beautiful Paula explains that she used the element of surprise. The girl admits that she does not have brute physical strength, but she managed to get close to the opponents unnoticed while they were distracted by the guy. The beauty claims that physical strength does not matter. If you manage to sneak up on the enemy unnoticed and catch him off guard, then even a weak girl can come out victorious from a fight. Haru continues her theory lesson on street fighting. It turns out that each person has 3 extremely vulnerable zones. These functions are very difficult to use, as they can be used in the following ways: easy to protect. These are the eyes, groin, and jaw. The latter is very hard, but has a rather shaky structure, which is why it can be knocked out. In addition, a large number of nerves pass through there. According to the girl, if you correctly hit the opponent who did not have time to defend, you can knock him out with 1 blow. The beauty clarifies this with the example of her fight. She knocked out the first opponent with a powerful blow to the jaw. The other bandit panicked, so he pounced on her without a second thought. This allowed her to use a technique that normally she would not have been able to perform. The girl simply used her opponent's strength and speed against him, only slightly adjusting his movement. The hero is surprised by everything he has heard. He doesn't understand why the girl has such skills and knowledge. It turns out that the beauty has a good teacher who helped her learn all this. This person is her uncle, who was dragged by Gang Haniel on himself. The girl admits that their hall is now in trouble. It's going to be closed soon, but that's just a small matter. For some reason, the man lost all desire to teach anyone. The hero falls to his knees in front of the sofa where Haru Lee's uncle is lying. The girl is surprised by the guy's actions. She doesn't understand what he's doing. Gang Haniel completely ignores her, turning to a drunken martial arts teacher. His words sound like a cry of despair. He asks to be accepted as an apprentice. The hero declares that he wants to become stronger, but no one wants to accept him. He admits that he wants to destroy all this garbage on the street, but he is too cowardly to do it. The teacher doesn't say anything, but continues to snore. The hero desperately bows his head to the floor, feeling like a non-entity. Suddenly, Haru Lee's drunken uncle takes a sitting position. He gets to his feet, declaring that his fun days are over. Gang Haniel realizes that he is accepted. This pleases him. The student and teacher go to the office, where the man takes out a contract. While the hero reads the contract, getting acquainted with the rather strange requirements of the mentor, the man continues to slurp alcohol from his throat. The contract contains the following requirements. The student must fulfill all the requirements of the mentor no matter what. The fee will be what the teacher calls it. If the student uses his knowledge in battle, the mentor will need to get 80% of the loot. The last point sounds a little strange, and the guy doesn't understand it, but the mentor explains it. The man sees the doubt in the guy's eyes, so he suggests that he leave if he doesn't agree to the terms. Gang Haniel understands that he will not fight for money, so this clause of the contract does not bother him. The hero realizes that the only thing he needs now is to become stronger. He signs a piece of paper, concluding the contract. Uncle Haru Lee is happy about this development. The guy snatches the contract out of the hero's hands, then calls an unknown person, who reports that he has found a guy that he can use as much as he wants. Gang Haniel realizes that something has gone wrong. Chapter 8. The hero realizes that the techniques he will be taught relate to self-defense for women. The guy asks if the mentor talked about him on the phone. It doesn't get a response. Haru Lee's uncle asks the student to take off his glasses. Gang Haniol does not understand why this is necessary, but still obeys the man's orders. The hero wonders why this was necessary. It turns out that you can't beat a person with glasses. These words startle the guy. He has even more questions. The mentor asks you not to rush things. As soon as the person he called arrives, the guy will know everything. Gang Haniol wants to know who's coming, but he doesn't know who's coming. Safely ignores, changing the subject. Haru Lee's uncle will find out if the hero has ever heard of the greatest mixed martial arts tournament. The guy admits that he knows a little about him. The man replies that the person who came up with it will be here soon. At the same moment, the door to the room opens and a man enters. Events are transferred to a multi-story building, where an unknown old man is standing at the window. It turns out that this is the chairman of the Hyungsung Corporation, which sponsors the mixed martial arts tournament. A man asks someone what his grandson is doing now. A man in a black suit and glasses tells the chairman that Gang Leon stopped fighting at school after the tournament was officially announced. The subordinate believes that the idea of the tournament was effective. An elderly person is interested in the opinion of a young employee of the company about his son. To be more precise, he is curious about why his grandson, in the opinion of a subordinate, is constantly looking for strong opponents. The man begins to express his opinion. He assumes that the young master wants to find his place among the elite by using his talent in fights. In addition, the divorce of the president of the company has a significant value in this whole situation. The young subordinate apologizes, but the chairman stops him. The old man believes that his grandson is trying to forget everything after the divorce of his parents. He changes the subject, asking about the opponent. It is important for him that his grandson finds a partner for fights, because otherwise he will constantly look for someone to fight with. The subordinate declares that there is such a person who signed the contract. This surprises the chairman. He becomes interested in the identity of this person. At the same time, in a crumbling house, someone demands that the hero rise. A thin young man in a suit stands over Gang Haniol, who is lying unconscious on the floor. The young man does not like such a weakling at all, because he passed out after one blow. He's mad at Uncle Haru Lee. The mentor says that the unknown person did not knock out the hero. He simply fell asleep from exhaustion after not sleeping or eating for several days. This surprises the guy. Haru Lee's uncle states that with the skills of the unknown, he will never defeat him, so he doesn't have to worry. These words make the guy angry. He begins to defend himself, saying that he has destroyed many gangs across the country. The mentor says that the unknown person will soon understand everything himself. The hero feels that a strange feeling of fullness in the stomach. He hears a strange sound and then wakes up. It turns out that it was the sound of what he was eating. He looks around, seeing a few leftovers around him. He is surprised that he ate all this alone. Then the hero notices the person opposite him. An unknown person notices that the guy has woken up. He also complains that it was boring for him to feed a sleeping person. Gang Haniol doesn't understand why the stranger was feeding him. He also notices that he doesn't have any glasses. Without them, he can't see anything. Because of his tall stature, the hero perceives the stranger as a member of the Di-Chun gang. He starts to cover his face, crawling back. The hero is afraid that they will start beating him now, but the young man is surprised by this behavior of the interlocutor, explaining that he did not intend to do anything like this. To himself, the unknown person notes that something is wrong with the guy, because he really was going to kick him, but the hero somehow realized this and crawled back. It's not clear to the young man how Gang Haniol noticed this with his poor eyesight. The mentor intervenes in the conversation. He seems to be reading the mind of his student, stating that it was his poor eyesight that caused such a reaction. The man recalls his words that the guy can't beat Gang Haniol, no matter how hard he tries. The hero does not understand what is happening, but the young man loses his temper. He clenches his fists, ready to start a fight. He doesn't really understand what's going on either, but he thinks the hero is already dead.